Hey, gang, thank you so much for being here. Two preliminary announcements, if I may. First of all, the sport coat. There's a word that I don't know if it's unique to television, moire. I looked it up online. They spell it M-O-I-R-E, and it means that it's a pattern that is distorted. I love this sport coat. It's actually purple and black, so it's my colors. But I've never worn it on television because I'm worried it's going to moire. But I thought that today I would take the risk. What do you think? A risk worth taking? Yay or nay? Give me a sign. Everybody's talking about Murdaugh. Looks nice, says Corinne Kenny. EJ, yeah. Snappy, says Tom. Snappy's a good thing. Brian, yes. Connie, Stephanie Pyle. Jim Griner, looks like a test pattern. Okay, that brings me to my second item of excitement today. The Super Bowl. You remember the commercials? You remember the use of QR codes? I keep calling it a grid. QR code. I think that there was one commercial that consisted entirely of a QR code where they just put it on the screen and people, scrambled for their phone. And only if you put your phone up to the screen would you get the benefit of that commercial. So Alice, the funambulist, I think I got that right, who edits Smerconish.com, came up with an idea a week or so ago. Why not have a QR code for our poll question? And I'm like, wait a minute, we can do that? So back in the mothership in New York, they are right now working on making this a reality for today's poll question. So, and I've tested it, this works. So when on your screen, don't go vote yet, but when on your screen you see the poll question come up for the first time, which is a Murdaugh-based poll question, reach for your phone and check it out. It'll take you right to where you need to be, which I just think is the coolest thing. So we'll see how it works. But I didn't even plan this, but look at the moire and the QR code. The moire and the QR code. Pretty neat, right? Let me thank my friend Steve Cordasco for sponsoring this portion of our get-together today. It is tax season. The last thing you want to find out is that you owe more than you anticipated because your advisor left taxes out of the equation. Don't let that happen. Call Steve Cordasco and the team at Mercer Advisors and their tax-centric planning professional. Steve's a good guy. I've known Steve for 30 years. I've told the story before. I was like the young political guy on weekends, and Steve was the young financial guy. He went on and he built a great business. He really knows this stuff cold, and I trust him. 855-558-3500 for the Cordasco Financial Network. It's a trade name owned by Mercer Global Advisors. Investment advisory services are offered through Mercer Global Advisors, Inc. That's an SEC-registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Andrew Garrett, Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC. Consultation with your personal tax professional, well, that's always recommended. So I want to talk about Murdaugh. I want to talk about Alex Murdaugh. I was, talking to TC about this yesterday, and we were reminding one another of how I got on the Murdaugh train early. It's because of Valerie Borline. Valerie Borline from the Wall Street Journal. I think she's now on leave from the paper because she's writing a book on this case. And there are some podcasters who really know the subject cold as well. But Valerie owns the story. And I see her in the courtroom on TV because, I'm watching this on court TV mostly because their coverage is constant. And she's in the second row behind the prosecution. In fact, yesterday she wore purple. But she wrote a lengthy piece in the Wall Street Journal that opened my eyes to how complex this case. I think, what did she tell me at the time? 5 bodies and 7 investigations. And it is true that in the studio, I crafted an organizational chart with Alec Murdaugh in the center of it, just trying to keep track of the complexity, the spider web that kind of emanates from him. So I've been following it and a bit reluctant to talk about it at length because it's one of these subjects. I don't feel this way now, but it's one of these subjects where I'm thinking, geez, I'm really into this and there's reason to be into it. But I don't know if people are paying attention, but they're paying attention now. I mean, for the last 2 days, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox have all interrupted their daytime programming. And believe me, it's a busy news cycle to bring you his cross-examination live. And it has been remarkable to watch. I tell you what I find, so many things I want to say about it in so little time. Creighton Waters is the prosecutor. And I tweeted yesterday and I said, this is more colloquy than conventional cross-examination. It's a conversation. I mean, very deliberately, he just got Murdaugh in a conversation. There were no objections. These lawyers are letting one another try their cases, which I really appreciate. And I think it has largely been Alec Murdaugh's self-immolation, self-unraveling that I have been witnessing as this thing has progressed. I was surprised that he took the stand in his own defense. I did not think that he would do it. I know that there have been reports that 2 of the jurors were crying as they watched him cry. To listen to some of the television pundits is to think that he owned that courtroom. I don't see that. I don't believe that. I think he's guilty and that he'll be found guilty. But I am mindful of the fact that it only takes one to hang this jury. Then you're going to get a mulligan. It's not like he'll be exonerated if there's a hung jury. They'll try him again. I'm convinced. It only takes one. I'm trying now to look at it from a flip side. You don't have any of the weapons. Okay, you got him running around in that time period, but where the hell are the guns? And where's the clothing, that he was wearing at the time? The clothing testimony is hazy at best. It has not gone in as well as it should for the prosecution. But what Murdaugh never counted on was the dog video. And at the tail end of the cross-examination, not the recross, but the initial cross-examination, which ended with a crescendo, from the first time law enforcement arrived on the scene, he's already spinning that story that he was not at the kennel. And he was. He was there when they were murdered. That's the bottom line. If you're paying only superficial attention to it, that's it. So if not him, who? Now, is a jury willing to convict beyond a reasonable doubt because you're there at the time and you said you weren't? That's the issue. That is the issue. Something else, and I was acknowledging this before we began formally here today. So I always need to have one TV show, and my one TV show of recent has been Tommy and Pam, or Pam and Tommy, Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson. I watched her Netflix show, I guess it was. It's a 90-minute long presentation. I've talked about it on radio. You see her without makeup, as she appears today, talking about her life. Very compelling. I listened to a Howard Stern interview with her, and that's what got me thinking about Pamela Anderson. No, it was not, the video or the Baywatch recollection. So Howard interviewed her. I took an interest. I watched the 90-minute Netflix show and thought it was really interesting. And only then did I realize, hey, there's this Hulu special, 7 or 8 parts long, that is a recreation in which Seth Rogen plays the contractor who stole the porn tape. And I started to watch it. It's great. It's great. Both of them are great. Both of them are really great. I didn't realize how wronged they were, but they got totally screwed. That porn video, which was solely theirs and for their use and enjoyment, was stolen from them. Everybody made money except them. It's an unbelievable story. Anyway, I finished it. So now, because I'm caught up in all things Murdaugh, I started to watch the Netflix documentary on the Murdaugh case. Murdaugh Murders, I guess is the proper title. It's only 3 parts. I'm not finished, but now if you're paying attention to this case, you know about and it occurred 4 years ago yesterday, I think, the Valerie Beach boating accident. This boating accident where Paul had a load on, that seems like an understatement, driving drunk, the boat, belligerent. It seems like a nasty, it seems like I hate to say this, he's dead. He was murdered. But seems like he was a nasty guy, or at least a nasty drunk. And he's piloting that boat, and they hit a bridge, and this beautiful 18-year-old is dead. And then immediately after the boating accident, in step Alex Murdaugh, and his father, and try and cover up and manipulate the whole situation. And of course, the relevance of this to Alex Murdaugh is because of the financial pressure brought on by the boating accident. He was being sued. The prosecution says this is what caused him to murder his wife and his son as a distraction. I still think that as a motive is shaky. I still think the financial crimes should not have come into evidence. But my point is that this Netflix special is extremely well done. And if you want an insight into the Murdaugh family and to this community, watch the special. If you're watching the Murdaugh trial with interest, watch the Netflix special. I'm going to try and get the producers on radio with me this week, but probably they're glued to their TVs watching the trial. So I don't know if we'll be able to do that. What makes it so special is that everyone in the orbit of Mallory Beach and Paul Murdaugh, Pawpaw, as Alex calls him in the trial, participates. So those who were on the boat, like these now, these young kids, they were 17, 18 at the time. Now they're 23, 22. They participate. You see them on camera, and they tell the story in all its detail. And you see the footage and the boat, and they weave in the news aspect. It's extremely well done. It's extremely well done. So, yeah, he's a liar. He's a liar. Is he a murderer? Did you see the thumbnail that I put together for this conversation today? Actually, it's not a conversation because it's pretty one-way so far, isn't it? I call it the Santos defense. I mean, like, which of the two, holy smokes, is that a Sunday poll question, TC? Who's the bigger liar, Santos or Murdaugh? Ooh. I may have to do that. Wow. Anyway, poll question today at Smerconish.com asks, what was the impact of Alex Murdaugh's testimony on his case? Did he help, did he hurt, or did it have no impact? I think it hurt his case. I think it just cemented his fate. That's how I see it. Anna, what about the young woman that just gave Trump and the lawyers another chance to slow things down? Anyone else think she's a Trump supporter? Wow. I've talked about it on air. I don't think she's a Trump supporter. I think I'll use my mother's word, she's whiffy. And she wanted her 15 minutes of fame. And in the court of public opinion, I think she's done great harm to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Did Santos kill anyone, says Christopher. See, I mean, that's why, do I put them in the same breath? I'm not saying that Santos killed anyone, but he's a liar, right? Is he a bigger liar than Alex Murdaugh? She's nutty. Yeah, she is nutty, right. Bad mistake putting Murdaugh on the stand, says Kelly McCluskey. Kelly, I don't think his lawyers made a mistake. I don't think these lawyers wanted him to take the stand. I've been surprised that Dick Harpootlian hasn't carried more of the ball at trial than Jim Griffith, and that it's been Griffith more than Harpootlian, because I think Harpootlian, with all that folksy Southern stuff that he's got up his sleeve, I mean, as a trial practitioner, is the more skilled lawyer. I'm surprised. Savage Beast, do you think it helped because it created doubt? Do you? I don't know. I don't think they proved he pulled the trigger, says at a bit crazy. Okay, well, there you go. Okay, he lied. Yeah, he was at the kennel, but where's the gun? Did he pull the trigger? That is the issue. And all it takes is one. Thank you for posting that. Could Murdaugh's opioid paranoid episodes have been the proximal cause of the murders? Wendy Diamond, again, I haven't been able to watch it all, and I was in Florida giving a speech this week, so I missed more than I would have liked. where is the testimony about the opioid connection? Like there is, as far as I know, and unless I missed it or they're going to present it on Monday, where's the expert? Where are the medical records that button this up for the defense that say, yes, he was taking this many pills? Show me the admission document from one of his 3 detoxes that says he was taking this much when he walked into our facility. That's number one. And number 2, where's the medical testimony that says if you take that much, then your whole thought process is warped and distracted? Steve, who else could have killed them? Right. I mean, who else could have just like threaded that needle to get in there, in the 7 minutes where he's unaccounted for? But, are you willing to say he did kill them? Surprised you are not addressing the 1-year Ukraine war. Not complaining, says Eric Swenson. I am. Sorry, Eric. I'm not addressing it now, but I am talking about it on CNN today, for sure. Yeah. It's one of my 4 segments, I promise. I haven't told you what the others 3 are, or the other 2 are, but yeah, I'm going to do it. Cousin Eddie, after he ate a squirrel. Right. How tall is Cousin Eddie? That's a question that I wanted to know. So... okay. Luca the pollster was great this week, says EJ. Yeah. Address the train for God's sakes. Larry, I'm not addressing the train today. I get 4 blocks, and it's not how I'm using my time today. Part of my rationale is everybody else has it covered. And, I get like 1 bite at the apple here on CNN as compared to what I get to do on radio. He probably did it, says Bob Starner, but reasonable doubt exists. It might. Well, thank you. Thank you for letting me just get these things off my chest. Have fun with the QR code when it pops up on your TV today, and I will see you on television soon. Give TC some play with TC After Dark. She's got a brand new podcast release, and all the Smerch merch is still for sale on the website, including the free Harry t-shirts. Remember, you got to stand with Harry against the monarchy. Or stand with Harry against, whomever. Free Harry. See ya.